So I guess I'll introduce myself. My name is Frances Howarth. That's hair. I don't see her, but my name is Frances Howarth. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Irish Rep. And we've got a group here from the Harry Potter meetup, the group that shall not be named. And so they have worked with me, John here has worked with me to arrange this talk back, and so we'll be speaking with the actors once they've had a chance to kind of take a breath and shower and all of that. So how many of you here have been to Irish Rep before? And thank you. And those of you who are with the group, did you come already to see Disco Pigs? Yeah? So was the second time different?
Yeah,
yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Pick up on a little bit more?
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool, very cool. Well, so I'll tell you a little bit about Irish Rep. This is our 29th season, and we renovated 2 years ago here and reopened in 2016 with this new theater. Our mission is to present works by Irish and Irish American playwrights, or works that are based in Irish history. This work that you saw tonight is written by Enda Walsh. It was his first major play, but it's a 20th anniversary production, but the play did premiere last year, and so actually the play, or this production premiered last year. The original play was written in 1996, and it was contemporary at the time. So you maybe picked up on some cultural references that are very much of that time. Enda Walsh has since written quite a few plays, has won Tony Awards, and is still writing today. In fact, when we opened this, there was another of his plays being run at St. Anne's Warehouse simultaneously, so you could have seen, 20 years later, Enda Walsh. And he's known for writing the book for the Broadway musical Once.
Oh, wow.
And collaborating with David Bowie on the recent musical Lazarus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But this is where it all started, and this play sort of burst onto the scene in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and really put him on the map as a major international playwright. Coming up at Irish Rep, you'll see on the back of your programs, we have The Seafarer, which will be opening in this theater next. We have one more week of Disco Pigs. It was extended for 2 weeks, but it'll be an 8-week run total. So a lot. There are 8 shows a week. So I don't know how these actors do it. I can't even imagine. But I'm sure they'll tell us a little bit about how they get through that in a second. Does anybody have any questions about Irish Rep? No. Oh, sorry. We also have a downstairs studio theater, and we just wrapped up a play there, Jimmy Titanic, and we are about to open a new play, 3 small Irish masterpieces. It's 3 one-acts, both written in the early 1900s, by Yeats, Lady Gregory, and Singh. And so they are historically significant and also pretty cool little plays. And so if you're interested in Irish theater, I do recommend checking that out next. Very different from Disco Pigs. But yeah, and so I was kind of curious about the Harry Potter meetup group. So you do a lot of meetups, yes?
Yeah, this is actually our 600th meetup.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, it's actually our 600th. Yeah.
Today is the 600th?
This particular event is our 600th meetup.
Oh my God, I'm honored.
Yeah.
Well, we're really excited that you chose us to be that monumental occasion. That's really cool. That's great. Very cool. It's very different from the Harry Potter.
Yeah.
a little change from Little Lovegood there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't really know what to say if you don't have questions about Irish rap, because I want to save the disco pigs for. Yes.
How many plays a year do you guys host?
It varies quite a lot. It depends on how long the runs are. So, for example, this is a six-week run originally, extended just to 8 weeks. But we have had runs that have gone for 2.5 months or 3 months. We do a wide range of different theaters. So, and the one that was downstairs was only 3 weeks. And so I would say, on average, probably 5 or 6 a year on the main stage, and then 6 or 7 down in the studio.
It's a completely nonprofit theater?
It is. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
It's a nonprofit theater, and we do have a membership program, which I'm sure my development team would really love for me to mention. I'm sorry I didn't before.
Definitely plug it. Definitely, yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a membership program that starts at $50 for a year, and that gets you 20% off discount, and then it goes up from there. And we love our members, and they mean a lot to us as part of our community. Saved by the bell. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I know you must both be exhausted after 2 shows today, so thank you.
No problem, pleasure.
So I guess I wanted to start by asking how you both got involved in the project in the first place, in this production.
You were first, so you...
Yeah, actually it was a year ago, January last year. Just the director sent my agent stuff and I auditioned. I had like 3 of the monologues and they were very different. I didn't have the Cork accent and I had a lot more movement in all of them. He's really simplified it since. But yeah, just auditioned and that was it.
Wow, so when you auditioned there was more movement than currently?
Yeah, as in like I kind of, the speech run talks about their lives when they're kids. I was kind of like acting all of that out, and then as we went along, John was like, "No, do nothing at all."
And Colin, what about you?
I was around March when the audition came in, so I was doing a play in Dublin at the time, and so I had to do a tape for the first round, and then I went over and on Sunday morning in between shows for 11 a.m. audition in London, and met John and Tara, the producer, and did the audition, and then on the Tuesday they said yeah, do you want it? And I said yeah.
Right. And I read an interview in which I heard that the first time you met was when you did the photo shoot that's on the cover of our program.
That's true.
That's really awkward. Like, no, we want your nose to touch.
Yeah. It's always odd, those things where you have to get right up close and personal on the first time. Like, and hopefully there's no sort of like that, and like the first day rehearsals quickly dispel any sort of like mystery around each other. And as soon as people are willing to do that sort of stuff, you're like, okay, we got good people.
Good. And so Evanna, I read an article in which you were talking about how you came to be an actress was through your connection to Luna Lovegood as a character in Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it's remarkable Ron is such a different character, and so I wanted to learn a little bit about how you feel as your progression as an actress from this character that you had this original connection with, and how that's grown and changed.
Yeah. Wait, are you asking about Ron tonight?
Yes,
Yeah.
and how you wound up into approaching Ron's character.
Yeah. I wouldn't say she's not like a million miles from London. That she's still she's very much independent and bit of an outcast, social outcast, and I find I tend to play characters that they have this self acceptance, you know, that like they're weird but comfortable in their own skin. And Runt is that too. She's just sort of troubled, damaged, and all that. I did find it hard at first though. When I first read the play, I thought they were horrible. Not even so much in the way they beat people up and stole, but from the way they talked about there's the things they said to their parents. I was like, I said that to my mum, I would get a slap. It was like, and I had a hard time, being that mean to. I mean, they're not obviously even actors, but I still found that hard to get past. So I think once I got into their minds of them, that the key to her is all in that speech. It's like them against the world, and rather than be crushed by it, they're going to crush it. They're going to be king and queen of the world, and that's how they block out any vulnerability they feel, because they both feel totally lost and totally judged and unaccepted by society. So I think once I figured that out, I stopped judging her and I had more love for her and more pride. Yeah.
And Colin, what about you? When you read, you had seen Disco Pigs before.
I'd seen it when I was in college.
Yeah.
When I was planning on doing a different life altogether. So I seen it in a little small theatre in Limerick, and it was a much smaller theatre, and it was just I'd seen maybe one or two plays before that, and it was like they're straight on frocks and all that kind of stuff, where I was like, well, very distant. Whereas when I seen this play, I felt like an atmosphere was created, and I didn't quite understand the whole world of it, but I knew that the characters got it, and it was a unique theatrical experience. And it was, it was when the audition came in, I was delighted that I'd get a chance to crack at it. It's a special play.
So for those of you who haven't read the play, which I imagine is most of you, you should know that the dialogue is actually written in the way they speak. So the words are not like regular English words that they're then turning into an accent. It is phonetically spelled out. So reading it in the first place can be a challenge. So how many times did you go through it before you felt like you could say the words the right way?
I think it took the accent. Like
there's a music to the play, so it's kind of no, I don't want to say it. It's kind of when you're falling off the logic of it pretty quickly. I mean, the world isn't too distant a world from, like, it's Irish, so you kind of get a lot of it. And it's written on the page, it doesn't make some sense a lot of the time, but when you say it out loud, you kind of go, I can glue those words together, I figure what they're saying. Then you figure out you don't know what they're saying. But there's like a million different, like only today I realised this is like near the end of the run, the bit where I say, Sonia become champion the Wonder Horse. I didn't realise Champion the Wonder Horse is a TV show.
Oh, I thought it was an Olympics event.
No. Champion the Wonder Horse was like a horse. I don't know if anyone knows the show. Look it up. It's actually a show. I think you all read that in my performance tonight.
it took, for me, reading it took 3 reads to even begin to understand it. Like the first time I read it, I was like, what kind of highfalutin babble has my agent? I had no clue. But there was a few lines that I really loved and I thought were really beautiful, and I was like, oh, it's quite romantic. It's like vulgar and horrible, but it has this youthful vibe to it. It took a long time to understand. And then we went through in rehearsals through every single line. What does this mean? What does this mean? And we had debates, and some debates not settled, and up to interpretation. But and then I think I found the accent helped, the Cork accent.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the slang is from Cork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you have a training in the accent specifically?
No.
We did. We did.
Oh, we did on the thing, not before. Yes.
Right.
I did a little bit in college, and I know people from Cork, so they like talking. So you're.
So Colin, I was curious about, I feel Pig is a tough character, and you are, from what I can see, a pretty kind, much gentler soul. Don't be fooled. Okay, sorry. But what connections have you found with the character?
I mean, I think we all recognize like that character. Like it's more of a grotesque version of any sort of reality. But we all like went through that phase and recognize those moments in your life when maybe you got that drunk or maybe you didn't. But all these things happen. You go through relationships. You're terrible to your parents. All these sort of things, and you just sort of have to. I don't know. Just go at them as hard as you can in the play and go further than there were moments that were probably in rehearsal room that we went further than what we settled on now, just to figure out where it is and what type of story we tell. Yeah, it's connections. I don't know. We've all had those moments of being like feeling we all think we're the outsider. We all think we're like that one lone person in this narrative, and we're not at all. But yeah, I think relationships. You've got every Irishman will be a fan of Roy Keane. Sorry.
So had either of you watched Baywatch before?
No, and when I went on discotheques, I tried so hard to get it. Nowhere on Amazon, nowhere on eBay. A few, like, scratchy episodes on YouTube, but nothing really.
I'm guessing I did, but I don't think I was at that moment where Pam Anderson would have that impact on me. Maybe it was.
Did you watch it growing up?
No, I actually have never watched Baywatch.
Oh.
I was not allowed to. Yeah, should check it out.
That's what you expect.
Yeah. So my office is right up here. There's actually, I think, a little hole right there, so so I can hear your warm up. Like I know when it's like matinee time, like it's 2 o'clock. They're warming up right now because I can hear the music coming up. So I was just curious. It's so physical, and I know you have a pretty comprehensive warm up. You want to tell a little bit about what you go through to prepare physically for this?
We kind of do like one of those 7-minute workout things. So we do all that kind of stuff, and then we do our vocal warm up. But the 7-minute thing is something that I can't wait to dump by the end of this. The show's physical enough without doing it. But then just some days you arrive and you're like, I do need the juices to start flowing just to get your body match ready before you go out and do what we do.
Yeah. And we always do the opening. I find the opening the hardest part of the play because it's like we're not talking to each other. Like the rest of the play is like constantly bouncing off each other. And I know as soon as we hit the floor and are talking, then I feel safe. But the opening is always a risk. So we've always done that before the show. And I could do it backwards in my sleep now. Yeah, but the one time you don't do it is when you mess it up. So I always do it.
Cool. Well, I want to, speaking of the physicality, give you a chance to get some rest. So one last question I had was, what's next? You've got one more week of Disco Pigs. Do you know what your next plan is?
Get chucked out of the country. Yeah, I try to remember what happened here. It was such a whirlwind. I did go back and do a workshop in Dublin. Then you're back actor's life. Go find another job.
You know?
Me, got a film coming up in the summer. A shoot, independent movie shoot. And then I've got I do a podcast about veganism.
You want to tell about it?
No, I post about it so much online, so I'm gonna spare her. But yeah, it's a podcast on veganism.
It's called Chickpeas. Y'all should check it out. All right. So we were going to do a photograph with the Harry Potter group. So,
Do you want to answer anyone else's questions?
do
Yeah,
y'all
go
have
for it.
time
Go for it.
Yeah. Did anybody have questions?
I just did one.
Okay.
You asked part of a question about the movement, and can you elaborate more on the movement coaching and the process? Because that actually blew me away about this play. I did not expect the level of physicality involved, and it was really amazing.
Yeah, okay, well, we had a movement director, her name is Naomi Saeed. She was there from day one with us, and we were doing heavy workouts in the morning, basically, and dancing a lot in the morning, just to get us fit enough, basically, to do the show. And I suppose what I
All
remember.
the movement sequences, she would have us like do our natural instincts for them, and then she would make it look cool. So we would do our thing, and then she just tidied it up. But like all those moves were Colin's moves, and like the fight sequence, she was like, "All right, you do what you want to do if you were trying to win a fight," and then she just kind of made it more of a dance and more of a. They like that flow of it, and the director always talks about the dichotomy of like stillness and then action. So like when you're still, you have to be very still. When you're moving, you have to be moving. And they always wanted that continuous dance. Yeah.
But the play demands things to happen. So like you're in the bus section where it's like I can't remember the man's name. He says sit. So like you gotta sit. Unfortunately, we don't have any chairs, so we gotta just hover in the air.
Yeah, and we did start out, they had lots of props. They had lots of cider bottles, they had scampi fries, we had all these things so that we could know the feel of them in our hand. And up until the last week of rehearsals, they were like, we might use them. And then they didn't. So we had to put up mining. And
The only thing that was clear early on was that the television was going to be there and
yeah.
the program
Yeah.
and flash. Everything was we were going to have.
But that's true. But yeah, it all just was like knitted together very gradually, like little sections done at a time. To the point where like, at the end you're like, oh wow, we made a whole show of movement. That's Naomi, she's just really brilliant at it. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
Cool.
Anybody else have a?
There are like 3 places that I should visit.
Where do you
No, you're spending more time there.
okay, well, go to Dublin.
But where?
Okay, well, you can walk Dublin in over 2 days, I'd say. And just go in, you're going to have to go into Cable Bar, where you'll find it pretty quickly, cobblestones and bars everywhere. I would say you could go out, if you get a chance, if you get a car, hit the west coast, and just do the Wild Atlantic Way and go from Donegal down to Cork, and maybe also go to the Giant's Causeway up in Northern Ireland, or go to the Newgrange.
Except free, huh?
Tourism Ireland is funding us.
Airlines is this
He's
one.
running around with everything, right? You just had it, he was wrong with it.
Yeah. So there are a few things.
So like everyone was saying, physicality was such a huge part of creating the space, but what I really loved also was just the use of sound and music. So I want to tie it back to the warm-up. Do you guys listen to any music to kind of get your routine going, or something you wanna?
I don't know.
The music?
No, like your own personal.
Before the show, like
Either before the show or just walking down the street, like do you
I did have all the tracks on my YouTube playlist.
Yeah.
And we did have we were listening to 90s music a lot of the time during rehearsals. Now and again I dip into it, but not as much anymore.
I need a break from the show.
Yeah,
Overall.
yeah. Like what the big. I remember we came back to do rehearsals the second time, and I couldn't actually remember. I remember some of the lines and all that sort of stuff, but as soon as the music played, my body was just like this. I was terrified. So, yeah. So I can't wait never to hear these songs.
Go for it.
What 90s character were you channeling for your role as a male?
Which 90s character?
Yeah, sometimes you reminded me of Carl Meany, and then sometimes you reminded me of one of the other guys from another 90s movie. The way that you had your stance and everything. It's just really.
I did enjoy a lot of Colin Meany stuff outside of the play. It's definitely a lot of Star Trek memes, which are funny. But no, I didn't actually have any particular person. Now that I think about it, I'm trying to think what happened, what was it drawing on. Like we looked at the characters that were mentioned in the play a lot of the time, but 90s characters. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know. I wish I did. That would be a much better play.
We didn't have like a wall of people,
Yeah.
like influences.
I know the director very much wanted me to be Ewan McGregor from Trainspotting. That's why I'm wearing those jeans.
I think we have time for one more.
Hi. So, your characters are 17 years old, they're out in the world, they're kind of like in their own world, in themselves, and they're vulnerable in their own way, in a special way. What advice would you give to your characters, like, at this point in their life? Because I personally think they might need some outside advice, although they might just
Well, I think that the latter is that they just wouldn't listen to any advice. It's not advice they need, it's love they need, because I think Runt especially, she just feels like nobody except Pig loves her, and that so that even when he's sort of holding her back, don't listen to this, I'm sorry. Even when he's holding her back from being her full self, like she can't let go because she's like, if I don't have Pig, I don't have anyone. And this whole fear of not being loved, and I think she just needed people to show her love and to stop like taking her like being offended by her, or her kind of her angst and her aggressiveness. Yeah, she really just needed a hug, or a lot of hugs, a daily hug from somebody non-judgmental. Yeah, that's what I would try. Just try and be a friend, because I don't think they were in the place to take advice. Yeah, they had this decision that everyone who wasn't them was a loser, really. So it's hard to penetrate.
I don't think there was any point trying to talk to him. Gavin just done a long time before we reach him in this way. As soon as, I don't think he's not prepared to grow up. He's not fit for it. And then all he has is her. So as soon as it's clear that that's not going to happen, good luck.
There she was trying to inject some hope. Well.